Alright guys, and here is the finished product, the DIY Aquarium Shop Vacuum. This thing is a Cadillac, and I am super excited to test this out for the first time. But before I do that, I want to walk through all of the components that you just saw me put together. First off, we have a 5-gallon bucket. Any bucket will do. Then we have this nice rotating base with the caster wheels. I believe this is actually used mostly for car washes and whatnot, so you can wheel your wash buckets around, but it works really well. You just screw these in to tighten the 5-gallon bucket so it doesn't come loose. Then we've got our Hydroponics Basket, which fits nicely on the top of the 5-gallon bucket. You saw me connect all of the PVC pipe down below. I used a bulkhead to get that pipe down below. This is where we're going to stick our siphon tube through. So the water is going to actually go to the bottom side of the bucket. I put a T right here just to attach my float switch, and this is just like a real cheap float switch. I ran into a little bit of problems when I was wiring it up. I didn't realize that it was supposed to be positioned this way. I had it positioned upside down to begin with, so it turned on immediately. Whoops. But that's fixed now. We've got our small DC pump ready to go with a pre-filter, and we've got our filter sock here as well. And then we've got our return line, which is clipped to the side of the tank. On the side here, we have a Pelican case, a small Pelican case, and that has a 12-volt battery, which is typically used for RC cars. So that battery is protected, won't get wet. I drilled a small hole in it and then covered it up with electrical tape to get my wires out. And here's how I wired it. We've got our pond pump, and that goes to the float switch, and then the float switch goes to the battery pack, and then back. And the only other wire that's involved is this one right here, which will allow me to use my recharging brick to recharge this battery without taking it out of its container. So I popped the handle off the bucket. I just put this carabiner, which came with the Pelican case, right on there as a nice handy way to keep that battery portable with no wires connected. When I'm done with it and I need to recharge my battery, I can just wheel the whole thing over to the wall, plug it in, and wait for it to charge. I don't know how hot that battery is going to get, so that's one thing I'm going to have to check to make sure when it's charging that it doesn't get super hot. Obviously I don't want it to melt the case or anything, but pretty sure 12 volts going to stay you know, not that hot. But that's one thing I will check when I do go to charge the battery. But the battery is all charged right now, so essentially when the float switch kicks on, the pump gets the power from the battery and is able to pump my water back. When I have enough water in this bucket, the whole thing will operate. When there's not enough water in the bucket, the whole thing will just sit here ready for use. So, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Again, if you watched my video last week, you'll see the diagrams and the plans for this. I got a lot of great comments, a lot of great feedback and suggestions, some of which I've incorporated here. Others I will definitely incorporate in the future, depending on how this functions here. We'll just have to give it a go and modify it from there. So let's get some water in this bucket and see how well it siphons. I've got a lot of junk in the bottom of this tank. I haven't been siphoning this tank because I wanted to shoot this video. So we'll see if I can get all of the junk off the bottom of this tank and return clear water back to this tank. So let's get started. Alright guys, and that is one tank done. It took just the same amount of time as if I was using a siphon hose and a 5-gallon bucket, as you would conventionally do. However, with this, all of that water, or at least most of it, returned back to the tank. So because I have my drip system, I'm not concerned about changing the water. I'm more concerned of just getting the stuff off the bottom of the tank. And I'd have to say this is a success. One thing you will notice is because this float switch was a little bit larger than I thought it was going to be, I had to modify my plans. I was just going to attach it to this standpipe, and I wasn't going to put that T in. When I put that T in, you see, during that time lapse, I ran over and I got an elbow and then another standpipe here, just to make sure that the water from down below wouldn't come back through into the top chamber, because obviously I wanted it to go through this filtration medium. So anyways, I was pleasantly surprised by this DC pump. It was definitely able to keep up with my siphon hose. I was using a medium to large size diameter siphon hose. This is my favorite one. This is the one I use to clean all my tanks anyways. And you'll notice during that time lapse that that float switch went on, and then it went off, and then it went on, and then it went off. And that's because it was able to pump more water than I was siphoning into the bucket, which is always a good thing. One other thing that's important to note, I have a siphon break right here. If this tube, this return tube, was below my water level, I could get a back siphon when the float switch kicks back off. So that's an important thing to remember as well. And when I'm all done cleaning all my tanks, all I have to do is pull that top part off of the bucket, and then I can go dump the dirty water, which is sitting at the bottom of that bucket. But I would say this is a huge success. I'm super excited to have this. It's going to mean I can go from tank to tank to tank, cleaning all of my tanks without having to stop in between to bring dirty water buckets outside and dump them or anything like that. I can just go from tank to tank, clip this thing on anywhere I want, siphon any tank I want, and continue on without having to do the bucket brigade. So anyways guys, hope you thought that was interesting. If you're interested in building something like this, I will leave all of the links to the products that I use for the construction of this DIY Aquarium Shop Vac. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.